Push Fast Nation. How are you? Come on in, come on in. Back with another very inspirational guest, someone who is making a positive impact in her corner of the world. So get in here, let everyone know that we are here for another inspirational interview. I truly hope that through our interviews that everyone is trying to make a positive impact in the world around here. And this young lady doing exactly this. So I'm very happy that Miss Abigail Christmas is joining us from Barbados, I believe, but she is from Dominica. So if you're joining us for the first time, I am Simone Matthew, and we are here every week to bring you the best guests and to continue to promote and celebrate who we are as Dominicans and people of Caribbean heritage. So Push Past 10 is to promote our people, our culture, and of course, our businesses. So let us give a warm welcome to Miss Abigail Christmas from Perfect in My Own Skin. And let us say welcome to her as she tells us all about who she is, where she's joining us from. Hi, Abigail. How are you?
Hi, Simone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Abigail Christmas, as Simone mentioned. I am joining from Barbados right now, but I am Dominican, and my project is based in Dominica to promote body positivity, self awareness, and self esteem in women. I also work to ensure that there is no discrimination against physical appearances and no body shaming, as we see this is a norm right now.
Absolutely. So I'm very happy you're joining us here, Abigail, to talk about the important work that you're doing. So kind of just tell us how all of this got started, your own personal experiences, and why you decided to embark on this journey.
Okay. Well, perfecting my own skin was actually developed through the efforts of a training I did with the Girl Guides Association under the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouting. They have an advocacy forum every year where they choose women from every or some of the member organization across the world to promote body positivity under their Free Being Me project. So I did this training last year, and to climax the training, you had to develop a project of your own to promote that in your region. So I came up with Perfecting My Own Skin. It was launched in December 2020. And I must say, so far, it has been going well because I have been achieving my goal in raising awareness on the issue. And I must bring in my experience so you could understand why I was so intrigued to do such a project. In primary school, I was bullied a lot for the way I looked, and I came to realize that it was just a trend because people used to make fun of me in primary school about my full lips. And when I was in high school, I realized that celebrities and so many other people were trying to have full lips, doing all kinds of things to have full lips. I had it naturally and I hated it. But I came to realize society makes you hate things about yourself only to later say that it is acceptable. Boys boys were always about my full lips when I was in high school, and that was different than what was happening when I was growing up. Because when I was growing up, everybody made fun of it. In high school too, I was thin and tall, and everybody used to make fun of me, my thin legs, my thin long legs. Then I put on a little weight in college, and everyone was like, I'm getting too fat. All of that made me realize that no matter what you do, how you look, there will always be people who don't accept it. And all of this streams from social media and the media on a whole, because they create that unrealistic ideal of what beauty is supposed to look like. And everyone feels like if they don't look like that, if they don't look like a Barbie doll, they are not good enough. This is what my project is about. My project is about letting everyone know that they should accept themselves and love themselves for who they are, because what we see on social media, what we see in the media, it's unrealistic, and trying to achieve that will make you hate yourself, only to realize when you achieve it, the trend will change and you will have to do something completely different to feel acceptable again.
Yes, thank you for that. So today we are talking about body positivity. We are talking about, in particular, the effect of social media such as Facebook and Instagram. And if you've been paying attention, there's been a lot of backlash against Instagram for all the, filtered photos that many of our young women are looking up to. And I know for many of us, because I know the age of my viewers, we might be thinking, well, you know what, this is not for me. I am confident in who I am. I don't have body image problems. But think about the young ladies in your life, right? You may have daughters, you may have nieces, you may have, just young people that you care about. And we are focusing here today on the young ladies, but we also have to keep in mind that young boys are impacted by a lot of what is shown on social media as well. So we're going to have a conversation today. We're going to have a conversation about body image, self-confidence, and just what media portrays that may be impacting our young people. So, Abigail, kind of just walk us through how you got started, what you started doing, and how you've gained momentum. And as I see our Facebook audience is coming in, first of all, I want to thank you for being here. We also want to remember to thank our sponsors, TDN Radio and Badui Financial Services. But I have a question for you on Facebook. At what age do you think young people should be allowed to have social media accounts? So, at what age should young people be allowed to have social media accounts? And just to throw another question in, at what age should they even have cell phones? Because as we know, the access to the internet and social media comes through Facebook. So I'm looking forward to interacting with you as you come on in through the Facebook Live. And we want to thank everyone who's always sharing our Facebook videos and our information. So we continue to grow. We're at 20,000 visitors a month. So I really want to thank everyone who will share this video. So Abigail, over to you. Just how exactly you had the concept. It was part of a project. And then what? Where did you go from there?
Okay, well, Simone, I believe that raising awareness comes through collaborations. And if I try to do this project on my own, I will never achieve my goal in reaching people. I will never reach a wide audience by doing it by myself. So, from inception, I try to partner with different people, try to have discussions, including different people, someone from mental health, someone from youth, someone who can speak on the perspective of older people, because my project is actually not only for young ladies, but it's from the age range of 10 to 50 years old. And I'm in the process of revisiting this, and you will know later why I say I'm in the process of revisiting it. This project has had quite a few panel discussions over the year, and next month will be a year since we have launched this project. And I have a group of young ladies assisting me with spreading awareness. I post on social media different quotes, different posters. I have had panel discussions in recognition of International Day of the Girl that was most recently held in October, and International Women's Day. Tomorrow, I will be having another event to showcase diversity, beauty in diversity. This will be a photo shoot. So I try to do different things to raise awareness. I will be, if there was no COVID 19, in the perfect world without COVID 19, I would have a much larger spectrum. I would be able to do physical activities, but right now, because of the restrictions we have, I am forced to use online platforms to spread awareness. However, before the lockdown happened this year, I reached out to the youth division and I was able to attend 4-H club meetings on the Western District to spread awareness with the permission of the youth division, of course. I raised awareness, I spoke to the 4-H students, and I got very good feedback from them. So I'm hoping that when this lockdown and COVID restrictions are lifted, I am able to go back to schools and raise awareness because that is my plan.
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And you mentioned the age range from 10, but we had a prior conversation, and you're telling me that you're getting feedback from girls as young as 6. Can you just tell
Yes.
us some of what these very young children are saying to you with regards to their own body image, what they think about themselves?
Yes. So in developing this project, I thought that from younger than 11 and 10 years old, you may not have an idea of what that is. But I was proven wrong when I had a discussion with a group of younger girls, and some of them, as young as 6 years old, were telling me things they didn't like about themselves. There was this very little girl, and she was beautiful. She had a mole somewhere in her face, and I was having this discussion with them. She raised her hand and she was like, Miss Christmas, I do not like myself. I said, why don't you like yourself? She said, my mole makes me ugly, so I don't like my mole. I want to remove it. And I had to tell her that was one of the most beautiful things about her. It was a beauty mark, and she didn't even realize that was one of her features that made her the beautiful person she is. And that was what led me to realize that this is a bigger issue. It's affecting children even younger than I thought, which is why I am trying to revisit my plan of having children from 11 and 10 years old and going to the younger children because it's an issue they face, although they are not fully aware of how to express it. It's an issue they are going through and they are being bullied by their peers because of these things.
And let's, we're having a candid conversation. So let's just be honest here, because we've all had insecurities. I don't think any of us can genuinely say that we don't have insecurities. So the young girl mentioned her mole. For me, I have skin discoloration. So as a young child, I was very conscious of the fact that I had like two-tone skin, I used to call it. So I would try to wear anything that would cover up my arms, my hands, because I did not want to show it. I had a cousin who her calf muscles, say her guajam, her guajam was, pronounced. And she would literally allow one of us to walk behind her if she was wearing everything that showed her legs. So I think we all have insecurities, but I think what you're talking about here is the ability to not allow those insecurities to impact your confidence as a young person. Would that be correct?
Right. What I'm trying to do is to get people to fully accept themselves. Once you are aware of your flaws, you embrace those flaws, no one will be able to use that against you and bring you down. So what my goal is to get people to be aware of themselves. Yes, that is a flaw. Yes, I recognize that is a flaw, but all of these flaws are what make me unique. All of these flaws makes me me, and I accept myself because of that. Let's use the analogy of roses and sunflowers. I love sunflowers, by the way. Everyone, for romantic gestures, they try to use roses. But a sunflower doesn't say because the rose is beautiful, it's more beautiful than me. The sunflower stands tall and the sunflower knows it's beautiful, although people are gravitated to roses. We all need to accept that we are beautiful in our own right. The Bible itself says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Yahweh made us in his image and likeness. So if he made me in his image and he made you in his image, we both look different. But that just goes to say we are both beautiful in our own way because the Heavenly Father is beautiful.
Absolutely, very well said. And I think the deeper conversation that we're having here is just talking about societal standards. And I have to say, as I chime in on the important work that you're doing, it is wonderful to see that, in the past, the standard beauty for a woman was, the long haired American white woman. And that was the standard many of us, even in the Caribbean, were trying to live up to. But now it seems like we're embracing our skin more. We're embracing our luscious lips and our big booties and our natural hair. So I think that is the deeper conversation that we're having today in terms of a change in the standards of beauty in our skin. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it comes back to social media being the biggest narrator of it, right? The whole accepting your afros, accepting your dark skin, melanin power. This all everyone was gravitated to it when trends started on social media and the media started to showcase this more. So as I said earlier, everything is kind of in like trends, seasons. So someone would have felt bad because of an afro before, but now, since it is trendy, everyone wants to go back to their natural hair. Everyone embraces their natural hair. However, whilst I'm on the topic of natural hair, you see a lot of times people accept their natural hair if they have a little curls. If you are not able to put a little kinky, coily moisturizer in your hair and just leave your hair as you wash it dry and normal, people don't accept that. For that, your hair is coarse. But if your hair is in an afro and you have curly hair, everyone accepts this. Everything, all of both of them is afros, but because one is not the same texture as the other, it is not accepted. So as I said, it's because of trends, and I'm happy that the media kinds of showcase black women, black beauty right now. But how long will this last? And when this trend is over, will our women still appreciate themselves? The
Mhm.
question remains. And I am trying to ensure that when this trend ends, everyone is comfortable enough to accept themselves whenever the media says that, no, you are not beautiful again. Right now, we are looking at mixed women. Mixed women are beautiful, black women are not beautiful, and that whole issue of afros not being accepted, dark skin not being beautiful, all of this comes back into play. Our women need to be able to stand on their feet and say, yes, I'm beautiful, regardless of what the media says.
Yes, and that is truly powerful because I think where we also see backlash is in the workplace, at the schools, where the young girls are saying, and exactly what you just mentioned, you have to tame that afro. The afro is wild, but yet if it's an afro and it's curly, it is more acceptable. And I think you also bring up a very important point as well, because as you were talking, I'm just thinking that yes, we have a lot of women and men as well who are embracing the skin that they're in right now. But then we look at places like Jamaica, where women are still bleaching their skins. And I was astonished when I recently found out this information that women are still bleaching their skins. And the horror, and it truly is a horror, behind that is not only are you deforming your skin and denying your identity, but what happens is their knuckles, their elbows,
Yes.
their earlobes remain black.
Mhm.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, this all comes back to not believing in yourself, not accepting yourself for who you are, and want it to be more like an unrealistic thing you see on social media. Because I believe the only reason, if it's not that you have a skin condition and you may be genuinely trying to balance your tone of your skin using bleach to just because I don't want to be black, that is not good, because you see that a lot of people say self-love, 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 and they think that self-love is doing your nails regularly and doing your hair regularly, but they don't realize self-love goes much deeper than that. Self-love is accepting yourself fully for who you are and not trying to change it because you would like to be more like your friend, or you feel that your friend is a little more beautiful than you, so you try everything in your power to be more beautiful. And after you do your hair and you do your nails, you post on Facebook, self love, I'm on fleek. you go in your corner and you cry because you think to yourself, my friend and I went out, and although I did all that and I scream at the top of my voice saying self-love, I still don't love myself. So the dark reality, it kind of resonates with these women after, because they know what they are doing is because they don't accept themselves for who they are. And I'm trying to get that point across, that you need to accept yourself for who you are. If you don't
Yes, very
accept
well.
yourself, no one will accept you.
Yes, very well said. And if you're just joining us, we're speaking with a very eloquent Miss Abigail Christmas from Dominica, currently residing in Barbados, where she's studying law and political science, right?
Yes.
Yes, and we're talking today about the effects of social media, the effects of society on our most vulnerable population, and all about truly getting in touch with what is self-love and how we can ensure that especially our young girls, our young ladies know that they're beautiful no matter their size, no matter the complexion of their skin, and no matter their hair color. And I have to relay this important example as we're having this conversation, because these topics hit home so close to home that, I have a young daughter, and when she was first born, she has her dad's complexion, so she's dark. And I had a friend from India, and she came to the house, and her first words when she saw my daughter was, "Oh, she's such a beautiful chunky monkey." And I'm saying this not because I think she was being mean, not because I think she really thought my daughter looks like a monkey, because that is an expression that Americans use to describe little kids because they think it's cute and they think it's, innocent. "Oh, you little chunky monkey," right? But to me, as a Black woman, I saw it different. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This is how names get attached to our children. And there's some names I don't want to be attached to my little African American daughter. And I told her, she said it twice. And the second time I told her, "Sorry, don't call my daughter Chunky Monkey. She's not a chunky monkey. She's a beautiful little Black girl." You know what I mean? So I think what I'm saying here is the importance of the names we allow people to attach to our kids, right? So they might say, "Oh, you have a big forehead." And in Dominica and the Caribbean, we love to talk about people's nose. I don't know what it is, but we love to talk about people's nose. Your nose is too big, your nose is too round. So kind of just talk about that, because that is where the body images stem from.
I'm happy you brought that up, because a lot of the times we see that low self-esteem starts at home, because your family member or your close friend may make a something they think is a joke, but to you it does a lot more damage, because that remains with you. Like someone, I'm glad you mentioned the forehead. A lot of people try to say you have so much of a big forehead. That can stay with someone forever. Like, there used to be a time where everyone used to be like, Rihanna is not pretty, she has a big forehead. Now everybody is in love with Rihanna. Everybody forgot about that big forehead, because Rihanna didn't make that forehead deter her. Everyone was on social media posting about her forehead, but she still made money. She still accepted herself for who she was, and she is still beautiful. She knew she was beautiful. But as a child, with someone constantly telling you something about yourself, "Oh, you're too fat," you grow up trying to accept yourself, but every time you look at yourself, you're reminded that someone you looked up to, or someone you felt was close to you or supposed to be motivating you, kept on ringing in your head, "You're so fat." And some people go as far as saying, "Nobody will ever want to be your friend if you're that fat." Some families have different ways of expressing these things, and they don't realize, sometimes it's innocently, but they don't realize the damage they are doing, because these words can leave a scar that lasts a lifetime. I
Yeah,
was
and that's
speaking with
it.
this young
And
lady.
yeah, go ahead.
I was speaking with this young lady. She told me she was a little bit on the chubby side when she was growing up. And all through high school, she was bigger than her peers. And the first thing people would tell her, even her friends, "You may be eating too much." And I'm not saying that perfecting my own skin is harboring unhealthy body sizes. I'm not saying that if you are being and you are unhealthy, that you should just accept, well, that's the way I am, and not try to help yourself. What I'm trying to say is how we comment on these things and not helping the situation, adding insult to injury. That's what it is. So you have to know how to approach people and how to tell people certain things.
Right. And you know, it goes back to that old adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can do me no harm. That's
Right.
true.
Words does a lot of harm. A lot of harm. Words can harm people. Words can, because sticks and stones, let's just look at it. Sticks and stones. If I am beating you with a stick, Simone, after a while that pain will stop because the stick is no longer beating your skin. But the words, I will say something to you, I will discriminate
As
you,
we
I
come
will
back home,
embarrass you,
yes.
and you will remember it forever.
Yes, and then the other thing it brings to mind is, well, you say my forehead is too big, you say my nose is too big. I mean, what do you want me to do about it?
Exactly.
That's
If
the
the
forehead I
person
was
cannot
given. That's the
change it
nose I
in
was
like
given. What do you want me
an
to do?
instant, you cannot change it in an instant. What is the purpose of commenting on it? Why even bring it up if the person is not something that is the person's fault? I didn't make my nose, I didn't make my forehead, I cannot change it right now. So what is the issue? And another thing I've realized is people will be at you. Your nose is too big, your nose is too big, your nose is too big. But the moment you decide, well, I'm going to get plastic surgery, I'm going to fix my nose because no one accepts my nose. People will bash you for that and say, oh,
Mhm.
she did plastic surgery. She did plastic surgery on her nose. It used to be big and now it's small. So whatever you do, it comes back to that. Whatever you do, people will have an issue with something. Even if it's a different part of you, people have something to say about you. So the key is to accept yourself. Once you accept yourself, you embrace your flaws, no one can use that against you. No one can make you feel bad about it because that is me and I love me the way I am.
Very well said. And I'm so happy we're having this conversation. So if you're just joining us, it's all about talking about self-acceptance and not feeling obligated to try to change the way you look to fit any societal standards. And of course, we have a very active Facebook group, a very active Facebook audience. So I want to make sure we acknowledge everyone who's joining us on Facebook. And we also throw out a couple of questions in the beginning, such as what age should children be allowed to have social media accounts? And also, what age should they have cell phones? And I want to come back to you, Abby, because I want to know if you would even recommend an Instagram account, because quite frankly, I would not recommend an Instagram account. I mean, I'm nowhere close to being a youth or a teenager. I don't even go on Instagram because I think that the images are just so unrealistic, right? So I go on there to look and to view like everyone else. But, I think, why portray people who are clearly been filtered? Everything is clearly fake. What is the purpose of having that sort of information out into the world? But before you chime in on that, let's just acknowledge everyone who's joining us via Facebook Live. We have Annette Phillip in Queens. Annette, always great to see you. Dave Burns, all right, Simone and Abigail listening. Hey, Dave, nice to see you. Cece Christmas, great program. That's your mom.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Hi, Mrs. Christmas, and I want to thank you for recommending Abigail to our program. You should be very proud of your daughter. Annette says, I think 16 years for Facebook and cell phones. I agree, Annette. Brother David Lanklos, people try to judge people for their looks, but the looks from the outside, they don't know the inside of that person or the demons inside of them. They are jealous of others because they don't like them, talk like them, and look like them. So the demons inside of themselves are the jealous of others. Rosita White, the role of Queen Show. Good question. Let's come to that. Rosita, nice to see you out there in the UK. Catherine Dublin, well spoken, powerful program. Thank you, Catherine. Cecilia Bedminster, great topic discussion. Can you please address the body alterations in young women? For example, Brazilian butt. So I'm going to stop here because we have some good questions coming in, Abigail. So what are your thoughts? And thank you everyone for bringing up these questions because I had not thought about them. What are your thoughts on the Queen Show beauty pageants in general? Excellent question, Rosita.
That is that is a great question. Beauty pageants kind of, if you look at the reality shows that zoom in on beauty pageants, you see that they kind of take from the women, they make the women take out parts of themselves to portray someone they are not entirely. So you have to go on diets for so long, you have to learn to walk differently, learn to speak differently, learn different things so you make yourself look like a more interesting person. And I feel like if you're going to have a beauty pageant, you should allow the person to showcase their beauty and not the type of beauty you think you want to see. Let there be diversity in the pageants because you see that almost everybody is supposed to be the same size, and that is unrealistic. You showcase different sizes and you let people be themselves. I put up myself to be in the beauty pageant because I think I'm beautiful. I think I'm confident enough to go up for whatever title we're vying for. So I think you should allow me to be myself in that pageant.
Yes, very well said. And then the next question from Cecilia Bedminster, another very good question. Your thoughts on, for example, Brazilian butt lifts?
Okay, that's another good question. Brazilian butt lifts and so many other cosmetic surgeries are trending right now because it comes back to social media being the driver, the fuel to all of this. And young women will see these things and they'll be like, I want to look like that. And they save up. Some people stay hungry so they could save to have these things done. And I don't judge people for doing these things because a lot of the times when you see women doing these things, altering their bodies, it's deeper than just wanting to look pretty. A lot of the times it's because of the amount of low self-esteem. It's sometimes about being bullied because of the way you look, so you have no choice but to try to emulate that beauty ideal you see on social media. And when you look that way, who can bully you about your body? I don't judge anyone for taking these steps because you never know the circumstances of the individual. But for myself, I would not do it. I would not participate in it. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to push a mission that women are so comfortable in themselves that they are able to say, well, I will not do any of these either.
And I don't want to stray too far from what you're doing because I want to get back to your actual project. But I think we have started a very important conversation here
It
and
is.
one that hopefully you will continue to be a part of. But also the danger that comes in these butt lifts, these body alterations, where you have folks who are unable to afford to go to a real surgeon, right? Plastic surgeon. So you hear these stories about folks going to hotel rooms and being injected, and then you find out some of what they're injected with is concrete, or they go
Because
to a
this is such a
foreign country to
coincidence.
get liposuction and then
Yeah.
liposuction and then come back with an infection. So let's talk about this.
You bringing this up right now is a coincidence because just last week I was looking at a documentary where they were interviewing a group of women and they were also making mention of a large number of women that died from these types of surgeries. And they interviewed a specific set of women who were able to capture an impersonator. This person wasn't licensed and they were just selling black market drugs to people so they could think that it was really something to do the real surgery they were injecting into their bodies, but it was just another regular chemical, and that person was charging so much for that, and no results were being seen, and that was how they were able to capture them. And this boils down to the same issue. if you are not accepting yourself for who you are, these are the extents you will go to. You will use so many fake chemicals in your body just to prove a point that you are beautiful. Whereas if from inception you just accept yourself, you accept that you are beautiful, you will have no need to go through all of this because the media will showcase the beautiful outcomes, the successful surgeries, but they will never say the effects and the number of people who have died from these types of things. So I
Mhm.
believe that women need to stop relying on social media to determine who they should be, what they should look like, sorry, and they should just be themselves, regardless of what the media says you should look like. You look like you.
Mhm. Yeah, so again, if you're just joining us, it's all about body positivity, accepting who you are, embracing who you are. And especially, I think we want to share this information with our young ladies because, again, we might be super confident in who we are, but think of the young ladies in your world. And let's just touch on the young men because we don't want to seem that we're only talking about young ladies and we're kind of ignoring the fact that men are affected by this. And one area that comes to mind is a man's height, right? So many times young boys get a lot of criticism because of their height. And again, I say, what would you like me to do about my height if I'm a man and I am short? And then, we hear the ladies talking about the type of guy that they want to date. And the first thing you hear them say, oh, he has to be taller than me, or he has to be 6 feet tall. And that is just so superficial. So let's talk about the men.
Okay, I'm happy you're bringing this up now. The height of a man, that has been something men have been insecure about for years. And we see that it's continuing because, as you mentioned, the first thing a woman will say when you ask her what is her ideal man, well, he has to be tall. That's
Mhm.
one of the first things a woman look for. He has to be tall. But what happens to all of the short men? Do they stay single? What happens to them? So I believe that we need to empower our men. Our men may not be like the women and complain about feeling like they have low self-esteem, but a lot of the times you can realize that they have low self-esteem, especially if they are being nagged at by women or by their friends or so on. Because if you're a short guy in a tall friend group, they might tell you, you're short, you're a girl. In the Caribbean especially, we kind of throw these things out there, not thinking of the impact these comments can have. Men are also insecure because, well, now we see a trend rising where they are starting to accept chubby men, but the ideal was that you had to have six packs, you had to be tough, you had to have muscles. If you were chubby, you were not good enough. If you were short, you were not good enough. But now we see that social media is kind of bringing in a trend where fat men or chubby men are kind of being accepted now. But the question again comes back here. What happens when this trend ends? Will we still accept this man, or will we fall back on whatever trend is happening? The six pack, will that be what we want again? We are supposed to be able to motivate our men. A lot of times women look for men to motivate them and tell them, well, you're beautiful. But are we telling our men these things? Are we making our men feel confident? Are we boosting our men's self-esteem? We need to do these things in order to let these men feel appreciated, because although that man may not come to you and say, hey, I am kind of insecure about my height, I'm kind of insecure about my man boobs. He might not come to you to say that, but you need to make it your duty to support him, boost his self-esteem on a regular. So when he sees social media or whatever it is knocking off people who look like him or men who look like him, he will be confident enough to say, well, that's how I look and I'm okay with it. Whether the society accepts it or not, I'm okay with it because that's me. And I have somebody by my side who appreciates me and motivates me to accept myself. And I have wholesomely accepted that I might be short, but that doesn't make me less of a man. I might be chubby, but that doesn't make me lesser than a man with a six pack.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about the impact of the family with all of this. And I think considering everything that's going on in social media and the world around us, that is one of our responsibilities as parents, as friends of younger people. One of our responsibilities is to constantly reassure the younger people in our life that you're beautiful no matter your skin complexion, no matter your hair. And I have to go back to my daughter who is 10 because her hair is a little bit tighter knotted than mine. My hair tends to be a little bit more straight, and she's always comparing us, and it's natural. It's natural to do so. There is nothing with a child looking at a parent and say, well, why don't I look exactly like you? Why isn't my hair a lot more straighter than yours? And you have to reassure them this is what God wanted you to look like. You are just as beautiful, although we may not look the same. And now, you know, my daughter has gotten to the point where she calls me, what she calls me? Banana cupcake or banana something, because now she says I'm yellow. And she's chocolate. So you know you have to have light moments, and you have to make it not this heavy topic because she's only 10, right? But it's our job as family members, as close friends, to constantly reassure the younger ones that this is what you are supposed to look like. God makes no mistakes, right? And
That's so
you have
true.
to embrace and love you for who you are. But I just want to take a couple of comments, and then I want to tell you to tell us about some of your struggles and successes to date with Perfect in My Own Skin. And again, we are speaking to Miss Abigail Christmas. We're so happy she's joining us today. So Catherine Dublin says, we need to free ourselves from mental slavery. Until then, we will not appreciate our beauty made in his own image and likeness. Very well said, Rosita. So true. Roslyn, always great to see you listening from New York. Sissy Carter, mom. A lot of people suffer from smiling depression. Oh, that's powerful. That is actually a pleasant, a jovial person that we see, but inside they are broken. Wow, for many reasons. Sometimes one of the reasons is not being able to accept or appreciate yourself as you are. We all have flaws, they make us unique. Let's learn to appreciate our uniqueness, for we are wonderfully made. Let's continue to eat healthy, exercise, and live a beautiful life. Now, talking about support, I recently saw a panel discussion, and I think your mom was the host. So tell us
Yeah.
about the support you have been receiving with this project.
Well, I have been receiving support from people I know, people I don't know, because when you're doing good things, you will attract people. And no matter how small your good deed is, it's a seed you're sowing. So today we're having this conversation, but right now we're sowing a good seed. So people will talk about it. People will know that they should be supportive of their families and know that they should reassure their families, as you just said. My mom, as she is commenting on this live now, she has been my number one fan from the beginning. So I've been having a lot of support from her, from the Girl Guides Association. I have my units, my troop, participate in different activities. I've had some of my girls come on to panel discussions to give their input, and I try to constantly have meetings with them about it. So they are aware of the situation. A lot of them get bullied, or they may see things and they may not want to talk about it. So I try to engage them, and in doing so, I get their support.
Now, let's talk about some of the activities because you talked about the panel discussion, but you're physically located in Barbados, and this project is actually underway in Dominica. So, kind of tell us about the logistics of how that works, and just some of the activities that you do with the young ladies in Dominica to help to boost their self confidence, their positivity, to avoid body shaming, and all that wonderful stuff.
Okay, well, almost all of my activities have been virtually, and I have been able to through my mother and her networking, and through my networking, I've been able to reach out to certain people who were able to help me get people who would be willing to speak about this issue. And through the Girl Guides Association, I've been using my unit and I've been giving them different activities to do. I've also been doing activities with the World Association of Girl Guidance and Girl Scouts. So we could have forums where we talk about it on a larger scale and reach a larger audience.
Yeah, so hopefully once COVID is over, what are some of the activities that you're hoping to have in person?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'm looking to go to the schools to raise this awareness. I have made a journal with activities in the middle of it, and I have this up for sale right now. But I'm looking to make an activity book where I could give it out to younger children, where they are able to do certain activities that will make them understand what body positivity and self awareness is. So let's just hope that COVID doesn't have too much of an impact on this project. I was also looking forward to having face to face discussions. You know, when you have that face to face interaction, sometimes you could have a more personal impact on your audience and have a better conversation. I was looking to have marches because if we're raising awareness, we could have like marches around the town, we could have our posters. All of these activities were in the pipeline, but unfortunately, COVID. So we're
Yeah.
not able to. I wouldn't want to risk it and have anyone contract the disease or even have myself infected. So I'm being cautious about it and having virtual activities for now.
Yeah, good for you. And I see you have over 400 followers on your Facebook page. So congratulations. Very well done. And if you're
Thank
interested in Abigail's Facebook page, it's perfect in my own skin on Facebook. And I have to tell you, we have the most engaging audience right here on Facebook. And I'm thanking them for their feedback. Cecilia Bedminster gives us a very good example that I can actually identify with. So she says, in Dominica, I felt uncomfortable wearing sleeveless tops because my then muscular arms, when I migrated to the US, I got nothing but compliments. Is that a case of perception? Right? So
Yes,
one
well,
thing that may be acceptable in one culture is not acceptable when you migrate to another culture or vice versa.
well, the culture in Dominica is different for sure. So you may get shunned for looking a certain way in Dominica, whereas if you migrate to one of the metropolitan countries, you get praised for that feature. As I was saying earlier, my full lips, I was bullied about that in when I was in primary school, and you see that in the US, people are trying all sorts of things to have full lips. Botox. There was this trend where people were using cups, glass cups, and having this sucking thing doing so their lips could swell up. And I was so amazed by this because I'm saying I'm here in Dominica and everyone is telling me about my full lips is not pretty. And I was actually believing that until I realized people are risking their lives to have full lips. So what we may see being shunned in Dominica or deemed not beautiful in the metropolitan countries, people are dying to have those things.
Yeah, and you know, this is such a powerful conversation on so many levels. And by the way, your mom says, thanks, Simone. I'm very proud of her. We are also very proud of her, Mrs. Christmas, because she represents Dominica very well. And I also think that some of the societal expectations can be a little bit dangerous because here in the US, the trend might be for women to be skinny. So many women starve themselves and become anorexic. But then in the Caribbean, you see that if you come from the US, you know, I've had that happen to me. You go down to Dominica, oh, mon Dieu, Mamselle Meg, why is she so Meg? She's sick, man. Right? So here we are encouraging our women to be fat, which either extreme is dangerous. So I think we have to really pay attention to the words that we just because you have a thought, you don't have to actually verbalize the thought.
Right.
You see what I'm
And
saying?
we
So
see
we
it in
might
our
think we're immune,
culture.
but we're not.
Right. In our culture, we see that people tend to greet people by commenting on their weight. So
Yes,
instead
they
of saying,
do.
hello, how are you? They would say like, you get fat. You get meg.
It's
So we see that this is something that happens in our culture, and these people are doing these things innocently,
true.
and but they don't realize that it's an issue. And I was telling my grandmother, because my grandmother does that. My grandmother does that. She's kind of old timeish. So she would be, first thing she say, hey, Abby, you put on weight? So I say, well, Mama, you cannot always comment on somebody weight when you see them, because some people might feel, I might not feel a way when you say it, because I know that is part of the Dominican culture, and not just Dominica, but a lot of other places in the Caribbean. So I try to let her know that you don't just comment on somebody's weight. You don't know the headspace the person in. Sometimes the person has a condition that allows them to not lose weight, or allows them to be very thin or very big. So you cannot just comment on people's weight. We need to be very conscious about this.
Yes, very well said. And I want to talk about what is next for you, but the comments keep coming in, so we're happy for the Facebook audience. Justin Alfred, close family friend. Justin, nice to see you on the Facebook Live. Very positive vibes. Those who speak ill of another often reflects his or her personal ignorance and inner turmoil. So we're kind of deflecting, right? So we might have issues with ourselves, and then we deflect and say, well, look at you, look at this, look at that. But the problem really is with how we are feeling internally. Your thoughts?
That's true. That's true.
Hmm. Yes, Roxas Benoit, great program. My favorite quote: I love you in your own kind of beautiful. Very good quote. Emmeline Bertrand, hi Abby, Auntie Maps is watching. So proud
I
of
am
you,
the man.
young lady. Great campaign to help young women build their confidence, just being who they are, perfect in their own skin. Cecilia, they travel to countries like the DR because it's less expensive, and several have died or lost limbs due to infection. So, very powerful information. Rosita, the project is commendable. Maria Francis, good program. Abby, keep it up. The comments keep coming in. But what's next for you, Abby?
Well, the most immediate thing that's next is a photo shoot tomorrow afternoon, actually, with 93K Studios. So we're basically showcasing beauty in diversity. And right now, if there is anyone looking at this live, and you would like to be showcased tomorrow, you could reach out to me on the Facebook page, Perfecting My Own Skin, and we could liaise to see if you could get on tomorrow, or if in the future you could get on, because that is part of what I plan to be doing, to partner with different organizations and bring different photo shoots out for different purposes. Tomorrow is to showcase diversity. Another time it might be for a different reason, but my whole goal is to kind of let people feel appreciated. So if there is representation of someone who may look like you may feel comfortable enough to feel like, well, I can do that. I can get a photo shoot by myself when I'm ready. I can get my makeup done when I'm ready. And I must commend the entrepreneur of 93K Studios, Colleen Joseph. She was willing to do this from the time I reached out to her. She was actually on a panel discussion with me. She's also a makeup artist, and she will be doing the faces of some of our people tomorrow who may feel like there are some people who may not have even had makeup on before, but they feel like it's a way of expressing their beauty, and she's willing to do that for them tomorrow. So
Yes,
that's the
and we're
most immediate thing to happen
Yes,
with
and
Perfect
and we're
Minds.
very proud our audience keeps growing, and now we are doing Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So if you have an email address that you're willing to share as well for those who may be on YouTube and not a member of Facebook, is there an email address that you can share as
Sure,
well?
sure. It is perfecting my own skin at outlook.com.
Perfect in my own skin at outlook.com. The comments keep coming, and we're very happy to see them. Let's see, Rosita, body augmentation can be addictive.
That's
bordering and engaging mental illness. Very important. Your thoughts?
That is so true. Because the more you do, the more you change, the more you want to change. Because as I said, the trends keep on changing. So sometimes you may do your nose and then you feel like, oh, I should do my cheeks too. I should get
Mhm.
Botox. I should raise my eyebrows. And that's how you see a lot of people becoming what they say, what they call frictures. So you get so much done to your face. You alter yourself so much that your body cannot handle it and your body just starts to refuse all of these cosmetic things. So that also makes you get depressed, you can become anxious because at the end of the day, if your body starts to reject these things, you kind of look deformed and you may be anxious when or become paranoid about the way you look even more than how you will in the beginning before all these alterations.
And not to mention the medical complications that can result from some of these surgeries.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with doing a little touch up. I'm all for if you have something that, you have a little crow's feet like I do,
Mhm.
right? You want to get a little Botox to just feel a little bit better about yourself. I see absolutely no issues with those.
Right.
I think it becomes a problem when it's excessive. I think it
And
becomes a
it also,
problem when you're doing it for society rather for your own
right,
personal needs.
right,
So I think that's where we see the problems arising.
right. As I mentioned when we were on the topic of BBLs, I don't judge anyone because you don't know the circumstances why the person is doing what they do to themselves. At the end of the day, people do things to make themselves feel beautiful. So if a little Botox is what will make you feel beautiful, you need that to accept yourself. Then be free. Go ahead and do whatever you please to do with yourself to look the way you want to look. What the issue is that you make society dictate what you should look like. And if
Mm.
that's the reason you're doing everything you're doing and you're not accepting yourself at the end of the day, that is a major issue. You can do little things like people say that, like I've had the comment, you're telling people about being perfect in your own skin and you're using makeup. And I had to respond by saying, using makeup doesn't mean I am not perfect in my own skin. That
Mhm.
only goes to say I feel like if I use makeup, I only enhance my beauty. It's not because I don't accept myself or I feel I am not beautiful without it, but I choose to use it because I feel it's an enhancement or it's just something I feel to make myself look good or feel good. It doesn't mean that someone doesn't like how they look without it. That just means that's a person language of taking care of themselves. So I
Mhm.
feel society judging everyone because you may not use hair extensions and I may use it and you feel like you should judge me because oh I cannot accept my natural hair. That's a comment a lot of people make. That doesn't because people use these things doesn't mean they don't accept themselves or they don't love themselves. It just means they feel free. It's available and I feel free to do it. So why not?
Mhm. So I think what we're finding is there's a very fine line between societal standards and your own personal self
Right.
gratification. So we're getting ready to end up. And there's so much more to talk about, Abby. So I really hope that you come back and talk to us again because then we have questions such as at what age should a child be allowed to get plastic surgery? You hear about 16-year-olds
Wow.
who want to enhance their bust size, get bigger breasts. Then we have another conversation about women who do not want to exercise because their boyfriends do not want them to lose their butts. Right? So if you lose weight, you're going to lose your backside and you shouldn't work out. So we have so much to unpack with this
It's a very
conversation.
broad topic, yes.
Yes, yes. So I truly hope that you will come back and continuing to share with us. But let's take a couple of comments before we head out for the evening. Cecilia, Esther, keep the great work. Tina, Bell, always great to see you. Cecilia, strange. There's a thickness trend in younger women these days, which is a great thing, but there's so much confusion. Often enough, it's because that's the guy's preference. Valencia, that's remarkable. Alicia Jean Baptiste, I'm so proud of Abby. Go girl. Rosalind, colorism was a terrible in Dominica in later years. The criticisms can be a bit much as well. Let's see,
True.
Rosalind, the issue needs to be packaged to be part of the curriculum in
I
primary,
agree. I
secondary school,
absolutely
and
agree.
beyond. Thoughts?
I
Yes, so you agree.
absolutely agree with that. Yes. And this
Yeah.
is why I think that it is important for me to go to the schools and talk to the people. If I could start as small as 4-H clubs, then grow to maybe speak with the entire school or to different forms, and then I could have a discussion to have it included. You see how they have extracurricular activities? I think this could be added as one, or it could also be a topic you discuss critically in HFLE class or something else, because at the end of the day, we need to acknowledge this is an issue young people face, whether it is happening to them unknowingly or they are aware of the issue. It's an issue that has been happening for years and it will not stop now. We just need to raise awareness and teach our young people about it.
Yeah, and it affects everything. Just talking about a domestic abuse program we recently did with Mrs. Delia Coffeewicks and Rasmo. And I think many times women get into these situations because they have low self confidence. They have low
Right,
self esteem. So if I'm not worth anything, if I don't believe that I'm okay in the skin that I am, if I feel less than, then it's easy for this person to abuse me because I don't have the confidence to stand up for myself. So it impacts
right.
just about every part of our lives. Your ability to seek a job, your ability to just assert yourself in a
And
particular situation.
you know what, Simone? Sometimes it's even hard for these women to pinpoint what exactly makes me feel so less of myself. What exactly caused my low self esteem? Not realizing that it might be from childhood trauma. As I mentioned, sometimes it starts at the home. Discrimination starts with people who are close to you. And when you grow up, it might be hard for you to pinpoint exactly where is this feeling of emptiness coming from, only to find out it's a scar left from a comment in your childhood. That's why it is important for we adults to be careful what we say to children and how we treat children, how we raise our children to love themselves and accept themselves instead of criticizing them, even if it is subtle criticism and we call it constructive criticism. We have
Oh,
to know how to
we
use it.
call it a joke. It's not a joke. It's not funny.
Right? It's not a joke at all.
Right. Absolutely. Rosita, the issue needs to be packaged to be part of the yes, curriculum. She said that. Tina, someone actually got lupus by doing breast augmentation. Rosita, persons in the UK are still being compensated for breast augmentations that went wrong and are causing physical long-term health problems. Annette, great topic, reminds me of my time growing up in Dominica. Annette, I can certainly see how that would impact you because as we know, Annette is a very slender, beautiful lady, but I can only imagine the criticisms she must have endured in Dominica growing up. So just kind of tell us once more, Abigail, how we can support you, how we can help your effort. Of course, one of those ways is by simply sharing this video, sharing the Facebook Live as we continue to get the message out there that we have work to do. We have work to do with building the self-esteem of our young people. We have work to do, maybe even in terms of our own needs. So, kind of just tell us how we can support your efforts and your contact information and your final thoughts. And I want to just thank you for being here with us this evening.
I I am very happy that I was able to be here tonight, and I thank you for bringing me on. Everyone can be an advocate. You are never too young, you're never too old to be an advocate. How you can help this project is by sharing this live, as Simone mentioned. Follow Perfecting My Own Skin on Facebook and Instagram. Share our posts because we post a lot about different issues. Just this week, I posted about scars, having surgical scars and being ashamed about it. these scars make you who you are. They tell a story, having stretch marks. So a lot of these issues we post about are current issues. A lot of people may be struggling with. So I encourage you to share it. We also have a link where you could purchase a Perfecting My Own Skin t-shirt and represent the brand. Purchase a camisole, purchase a journal so you could write about it. We also ship to the US, so if you on other Caribbean countries. So if you're interested, you click on the link in my profile and you get a t-shirt. You become an official advocate. So you represent Perfecting My Own Skin when you're doing your advocacy. Please help spread awareness on this topic because it's an issue that has affected people from generations before and it will continue to affect people in the future unless we all take a stand against it and we raise awareness so people are more cognizant of that issue.
Yes, thank you, Abby. And we're so proud of you. We're so proud of
Thank you
the
so
work that
much.
you're doing here. And Anna did confirm she was called malnourished. So we just have to pick our words. And just because you have a thought, I always say there's no reason for you to verbalize every thought that comes to your mind.
Right.
Emmeline Bertrand, so true. The comments we make to our children about their body at a young age can have a positive or negative impact on the way they view themselves as teenagers and young adults. And the unfortunate reality, sometimes it never goes away,
True.
like you just
Simone,
said.
quickly before we
Yes,
end, I would
yes.
like to just make mention of disabled girls, girls with disabilities.
Mhm.
In Caribbean cultures, especially, we see that people with disability are not appreciated. And Perfecting My Own Skin also stands for girls with disabilities. Because if you are disabled, that doesn't mean you're not beautiful. That if you have Down syndrome, that doesn't mean you're not beautiful. And we tend to, our culture and society tend to not recognize these people, and they are equal to every one of us. So we should also recognize that even if you have a disability, even if you are missing a limb, even if you have this Down syndrome, you are beautiful. And we need to encourage people like that to accept themselves because these people might have a struggle, a bit of a struggle accepting themselves because of their difference. But we need to encourage people who have disabilities to accept that their different make them uniquely beautiful. And it's time that society recognizes that we are all equal and beautiful in our own rights.
Yes, very well said. And we're so proud of you, Abby. So, again, we're looking forward to you continuing this work. We're looking forward to you joining us on conversations such as this. And Valencia Webb says, congrats, Abby. Good program. We are all proud of you. So, again, I want to thank you for
Thank
being here for another Push Past 10 candid conversation with Miss Abigail Christmas out of Barbados from Dominica. And again, I want to thank her mom, Sissy Christmas, for recommending her for the program. Again, I am Simone Matthew, and our goal is to have everyone just talk about how they're being a positive light in their part of the world. So I want to thank you for being a part of our audience. If you joined us on Facebook or YouTube, and you certainly want to follow Push Past 10 as we continue this mission of promoting our people, our culture, and our businesses. As a matter of fact, next week we're taking the programs to St. Lucia, to Brooklyn, to a young man who actually appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show. So we are taking you wherever we can find Dominicans and people of Caribbean heritage who inspire us to do more, to be more, to inspire those around us. So again, don't forget to follow Push Past 10. Don't forget to click the notification button to know when we go live. And I want to thank you for all your support. So until the next time, I wish you a pleasant good evening and thank you for being here. Take care. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Let's end the Facebook Live.